Welcome to Back and Forth Sports, and today we have another special episode for you guys. And today we're going to talk a lot of things, especially the NBA Conference Finals. And people have been requesting football. Fantasy is coming up, so you guys know we love fantasy, so we will be bringing that up as well. Julius, introduce yourself to the people.
What's up, everybody? It's your co-host Julius Jones. Once again, shout out to Leb as always, putting this on for us. Back and forth sports, as mentioned, jam packed with a whole bunch of sports. This is one of the greatest times of year to be a sports fan. Ready to hop into it? Ready for another episode? Thank y'all for liking, watching, subscribing. Ready for it.
June is coming up, and June is for me personally. June is one of my favorite times of the month, favorite time of the year when it comes for sports. We have the NFL preseason, we have NBA finals coming up, we have a lot of things coming up. First, we're gonna review what happened in Game 6 of New York and Boston, and then we're gonna talk about the big Game 7 everyone was waiting for. Let's start with New York and Boston. It was a beatdown. It was just a straight up beatdown. Boston didn't show up to play. It was like Boston said, "We don't have our best player. We don't want to be here," and I'll be honest, this is the last time we'll see this roster. One of the best rosters we've seen in the last 5 to 10 years. This was a great team, and unfortunately, injuries happen. Right? We don't know what was gonna happen if Tatum was in. You don't know. But any words about that game? Like I said, it was It's an end of an era for Boston because next year they don't have Tatum for a whole year, and they won't have most of these guys. So them competing for an NBA Finals might be put on pause for a little bit.
Well, I was giving them credit for making it to that game 6, to be honest, to rally behind, obviously their brother going down, prayers out to Jason Tatum. But for them to even show up in that game 5 and force to game 6 and come out with some fight, I think game 6 in New York with that crowd, the Knicks just played really well. So you got to give them credit where credit is due. They were winning the series with Jason Tatum in it. And so while it's unfortunate we couldn't see how that series would have panned out, you got to give credit to New York for winning the series, getting it done at home. Shot the ball really well, played really well, closed the series out, and now hosting that Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers. That should be a great series. Um, I think you're right. This Celtics roster is definitely going to be different. You can't imagine they're going to be able to sign back everybody or bring back everyone. But as long as their nucleus of Tatum and Brown is able to come back strong, if Tatum's ever able to have a full recovery, whether it be midpoint through the season or at some point next season, you got to think they'll be able to retool the roster to still be competitive in the Eastern Conference. So I don't think they'll go away forever, but you definitely wonder how different it'll look going into next season.
It'll be a pause for sure. It's definitely going to be a pause. Tatum is out for the whole season pretty much. It was going to have to be playoff time if he comes back, and people don't come back normally from those injuries right away the same way they play. He is
Might
young, so he will
maybe
be back.
if he's not back all the way healthy next season, but as long as he's back in the lineup in the rotation, they've got to be back to competing for championships.
Yeah, but most of that roster, Hayward is probably done. We'll look people like Holiday, how much money he have. He's getting older. He's probably done. So a lot of these players won't be the same. It is what it is. They can't afford it. It's as simple as they just can't afford it. But let's not talk so sad about Boston and let's give New York some credit. The first time in over 30 years that we will have they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. That game's the first time in over 20 years that they close a game in Madison Square Garden, the
Yeah.
best stadium in USA. And did you see those people in New York? Did you see how happy they were?
Man, those fans are always crazy. Even in the matchups against the Hawks, and they go hard against Trey Young. Like, this is a city that just loves to see their Knicks win, and it makes me excited for them and excited for that city. I definitely saw them going crazy. I saw them beating people up. all the above.
And my question to you now is, can they make it to the NBA Finals? Can New York be an NBA champion for the first time since 1974?
Well, I'll say this, this is going to be a great series just as far as basketball history goes. These two cities, Indiana, New York, the classic rivalry between the two already, taking us back to so many days. Reggie Miller is one of my favorite players all time.
And he will be commentating.
And he's going to comment, right. And I think it's going to be TNT's last series, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's just going to be a special moment, special series. It takes us back to rivals and old school basketball. So it'll be fun to watch those two go at it. I'm picking the Knicks in this series. Personally, I have the Knicks going to the NBA Finals. After beating Boston, who we all thought was the favorite in the Eastern Conference, and now that Cleveland is gone, I'm not going to sleep on Indiana. I don't think this is going to be a cakewalk. I think the chances are probably in your 60-40. Leb always wants me to put a percentage on how I'm feeling about the series. But I am going to pick the New York Knicks. I'm going to say Knicks in 7, and they go to the NBA Finals.
I got 50-50. I don't know who's going to win.
You're completely in the
because people are sleeping on the Pacers. Because the Pacers did beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, that was the number 1 seed, and they beat them easily. So they beat them easily in 5.
In 5, and Cleveland did. You don't know exactly how healthy they were, but they still had their full roster available to end up playing in those closeout games. So both of these teams, we got to give them credit. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Pacers now for 2 years in a row. And so, we feel like both of those teams kind of took control of their series and took control early, went on the road and won game 1s and game 2s for New York. So this should be a good series.
I have New York and 7 because the last game is in New York. Imagine Madison Square Garden. Game 7 to go to the NBA Finals. You might not make it alive out of there.
I think it's going to come down because I look at both of these rosters and home court advantage in that game 7 or later in the series is definitely going to be huge. Especially with how Madison Square Garden, how rocking it is, and all the fans and the celebrities and just that environment. I know it's propelling for the team. It uplifts them and gets them ready to go. But just even from a basketball standpoint, I think the Pacers match up very well with the Knicks. Both rosters up and down throughout their rotation. They have guards, they have wings, they have post players. So it's definitely going to be a good matchup. I think the series comes down to your closers. It's going to be Brunson versus Halliburton. And I think in a game 7 in New York, I'd put my money on Brunson if I'm having to choose that matchup.
If you're a betting guy.
What it came down to me. And I don't know if it's because I'm still sleeping on Halliburton, the overrated player by the players' vote, or if it's because Jalen Brunson's just looked like that guy so far in this playoff run.
I'll say it like this. In this series, someone is going to come out a superstar. Because right now, Jalen Brunson and Halliburton, they're not superstars. And what I mean about superstars, household names. And both of them are not household names yet. They might be household names in their cities, but not in the country.
They're both close. They're probably on that cusp.
Yep, and the rise of a superstar is going to come out of this series. And it's going to come to the co-stars too. We got one guy on one side, Siakam, that is an NBA champion, and people forget. He knows what it means to get it done. And the other side, we have another guy named Cat that's seeing what the other guy he got traded for is doing out west. And he got to show up. The other guy's got to show up. And this is 2 different kind of teams. One is a bruised, old school team that want to bruise you, that want to play defense and want to win that way. And then the other side, we have a team that wants to get the ball and throw it up the court. They want to play fast. The question is, can they play fast enough to tire the Knicks? The Knicks only have a 6-7 man rotation. Yeah. Will they get too tired because of the pace the Pacers play? Or can the Knicks play in their pace? And this is what the question is going to be. And this is what the series is going to come down to. Because what the Pacers want to do is tire you out by game 6, game 7. okay, you're not the same player you were game one. So can the Pacers tire out the Knicks? And that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I think that's a great key, like a great X factor. I think it'll come down to what team shoots well as well. I know the Knicks want to slow it down and the Pacers want to speed it up. I think both teams are going to be looking to get a lot of shots up in rhythm. And the team that's knocking down threes will probably have a good chance. I think the key games are going to be the game one and the game two. If New York can come in and stand home ground and really be firm right away, then I think they can take control of the series. But if Indiana can all of a sudden sway the series, get a road game right away, I think momentum is going to be huge in this series. And I'm excited to watch it.
And it'll be a great one. And so I'm going to say, who do you have game one? Who do you think going to win?
I'm going to pick New York game one.
And I also want scores so people can do.
I really think that I'm tempted to pick Indiana because I think they start series is off very well. They normally come in looking to attack. They look hungry. They look like they want it. And they've been on the road before and gotten game one victories. So I'm very tempted to pick them. But I think New York is going to be a little bit more in a rhythm. Indiana got a little bit more rest heading into their series. We might see a little bit more rust. New York is going to be back at home. I'm pretty sure. I think the first games are starting off in the Garden. So I'm gonna roll with the New York Knicks game one. If the Pacers take a game on the road, it'll probably be game two when they get a little bit more back in a rhythm from taking a couple of days off from finishing out their series early.
And chat, let us know who you guys have game one. Let us know. I think game one is going to go to the Knicks. I think it's very, very, very important for the Knicks to win game one, especially at home. You don't want to go down game one and then game two is a must win at that point. So I got the Knicks game one, and because Leb, he's not scared of saying scores, Leb is going to go 112 to 103 Knicks. And for all you betting guys, do you put Leb score? You might win a lot.
I'm going to go a little bit higher scoring. I think the Pacers are going to be trying to get in transition a little bit. So I'm going to say 122, 116.
Ooh, close. And I think it's going to go down to the fourth quarter. And this is why I got the Knicks. In the fourth quarter, they got the clutchest player of the year. It comes down to who got the clutchest player of the year.
I'll be honest, both of these guys have done a great job of closing games in the playoffs. Halliburton definitely looks like he's out to not even per se prove to haters or prove to doubters, but maybe even just prove to himself that he's a baller and he belongs out there because he's putting up great stats. He's playing great all around, and he's been their closer, making game winners, sending the games to overtime. So I'm excited to watch that matchup come down in the fourth quarter, and I wonder how many times they'll be guarding each other and match up with each other actually.
That's what I like to see, though.
No,
I want to see mano y mano. I don't want to see so people like Stephen Curry in the corner. People like I want to see, like Kobe said, let me guard the best person and have that best person guard me. That's what a champ is. Let me guard the best person, and I want to see it for both sides.
I think there's going to be times where we see it, especially from the Knicks. I think Brunson is going to want to take on that matchup. But it's hard because the Knicks have so many good defenders, guys that you can just switch everything.
I don't care. I don't care. That's what it means to be a superstar, the best player on the team. Like Kobe Bryant said, let me stop the best, and the best come stop me.
No, I definitely get it. I think there's going to be times where we get it and where we see it in the series. It just depends on how they try to counter it. Who sets the screens if they switch and whatnot. Both teams are so versatile, though. They match up really well against each other. So seeing where each team feels like their mismatches or disadvantages is going to be really interesting, especially in that game one.
You know what? If I'm Brunson, get out. You want to guard me? Get out my way. I don't need no screen. Mano y mano. Let's see who's better.
I want to ask you something because we both feel like Indiana does have a good chance to compete, possibly even win the series. Is their chances better of winning the series if it's game one or game two that they take on the road if they take one?
I don't think it matters. I like taking game one when have the team away because then game two is a must win. And game two, then everything is on the pressure of New York because they go down 2-0 at home, they're in trouble. So I prefer winning that game one.
I think that's a great reason. I think I prefer game one too, because if you win game two on the road, you kind of put that pressure on yourself to win three straight games in a row in a series because you want to take care of home court. And if you steal home court, theoretically, you don't want to give up a game at home. And so sometimes winning game two, three, and four, 3 games in a row in a series is tough. You get to identify matchups, you get to go back and forth, you get to play that chess match. So getting game one on the road can be really important because then if you take that game 2L, it's 2 games that you have to win in a row instead of 3. I think that makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference, and like I said, it doesn't matter if you win game one or game two. Winning the game away is winning the game away, but winning game one puts all the pressure back in New York game two.
The other team, for sure.
It's that easy. So that's the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll see how things go as who win game one. We'll keep talking it. For now, we both said scores. We'll be posting everything. You let us know who's going to win, chat. But now let's go to the game 7 everyone was waiting for. We had maybe the best big man in the last 20 years, the Joker, going against the young, outcoming Thunder. And it just came out. I'll say this. It came down to one thing. Gordon just wasn't healthy. It came down to the health of someone, and Gordon. But before we do anything, let's stop. Let's stop before we do anything. You see the heart Gordon had? Same injury Stephen Curry had, but one guy was playing in the court, the other guy was watching his team get whooped.
I mean, Aaron Gordon obviously looked impacted out there.
A dog.
I think that, I mean, it goes a lot to say Aaron Gordon and about the player that he is, the person that he is. Shout out to the Bay Area. But I don't think it puts any knock towards Steph. They're completely different.
No, all the knock towards Steph now. All the knock. Same injury. One guy played, the other guy didn't play 3 games.
So here, but
4 games.
If you look at their play styles, Steph Curry playing, the defenses he's going to face, his involvement in the offense, his role, what his expectations are, completely different. Aaron Gordon can go out there and make a difference in the ways that he did or try to contribute as the third option, fourth option, defensive option, hobbled around. Steph running out there, all them screens, running, trying to shoot those threes on the hamstring. We clearly saw how he was limping in game one when he first heard it. It's just different play styles, different age. He's much older, and Gordon definitely looked hurt.
So, he did look okay, different he showed heart.
Different. Oh, it definitely shows heart, but I don't think that just because one guy does it in a game 7 do or die doesn't mean that another guy, different age, different time, different style should. And especially because we didn't get to a game 7, you got to be able to trust in your teammates to win you a game.
So that I said what I needed to say about Stephen Curry, and I'll stick to it. But now let's go back to the Thunder finally did it.
I don't feel like Aaron Gordon being hurt impacted the game as much as you said it. I don't think that was the only reason. The Thunder just came ready to play.
I think it did because you have to look at non-Joker minutes.
Yeah.
And non-Joker minutes meant Ori Gordon was a big part of the offense. And I was scared in the first quarter because with Joker in there, we were down 13.
Right.
And I text you, like, if these guys don't show up to play in the next 5 minutes, it might be a blowout. Then Joker came out. That changed the whole thing there.
The Nuggets have had this struggle for a long time. This isn't anything new. To me, it came down to one guy that they needed to step up for them, and it was really Jamal Murray. With Michael Porter already kind of facing what he was facing now, obviously Aaron Gordon's out there trying to tough it out in those non-Joker minutes. It really does come down to your number 2, the guy that's supposed to be their Batman, the guy who's supposed to be able to run their offense, be their point guard, be that second scorer. And so I think that was the biggest thing. Him not playing well, especially in the first half, didn't really get going to get started. That's really what impacted the game the most for me.
Yes, Murray had to show up when Joker was in the bench, and this looked like Serbia all over again in the Olympics. It looked like Serbia all over in the Olympics. But let's stop talking about the sad news. Let's talk about the happy news. The Thunder are back in the Western Conference Finals since the KD days.
Yeah,
Since
that's
the KD days.
a great
But
accomplishment for that organization.
I've had many people, friends from high school, friends from all other places. Congrats, Leb. We haven't done anything. Stop texting Leb. Leb is not. He don't want to. Congratulations for doing something they were supposed to do. They were supposed to do this. If they didn't do this, it would have been a failure of the season.
I think I still give them credit for coming out of that bracket. I think coming out of Clippers, Nuggets, Memphis is a tough four, and so it's an accomplishment for sure.
Not for Leb. Leb doesn't care anything but winning.
I mean, you
Like
guys
I
are
said,
you guys
no, winning it all.
winning the championship. Yeah.
This is something Tam Presti been trying to do. Like I've told you, 17 damn years he haven't won one.
So if they end up losing this round to Minnesota, that's a disappointment for Leb.
Definitely because we're playing another young team. Disappointment.
What if you guys lose in like a competitive series?
Disappointment. I don't care because if we're playing a team we can't beat. We're playing a team that we should beat. Let's put it like that. We should beat them. We're not playing a team that's better than us. We're not playing a team that has more experience than us. And we're not playing a team that have championship players on them more than us. So there's no damn excuse to lose this. Before last series, I'll give it to you. You're playing a Joker. You're playing Mr. MVP himself. You're playing a championship team. If you're playing Stephen Curry and lost to them, okay, Curry have more experience. Green's been there. You're not playing none of those guys. Every team I was scared to play because of experience is not there. You have no damn excuse to lose to the Timberwolves.
I would say the Timberwolves have a little bit more experience than the Thunder do. They made the conference finals last year. So outside of Julius Randle, Mike Conley's pretty experienced. He's been to conference finals. Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid, these will be guys seen it 2 years in a row. Dante DiVincenzo's had some deep playoff runs throughout his career. I think the Timberwolves actually might have the Thunder in the experience category.
A little bit, but no championship players.
No championship, you're right.
That's what I count as differences in experience is championship players.
Okay.
Like the Rockets, they had a championship point guard that took the Warriors to Game 7. The young guys didn't show up. So we're not going against Curry. We're not going against LeBron. We're not going against Luka. We're not going against all these guys. I was saying, okay, we might be too young to beat, but we got to find a way. We're going against another young superstar. Shay, you want to be the face of the NBA? Beat Ant-Man, the guy that wants to be the face of the NBA. We got the two biggest young superstars in the league right now going at it.
I mean, we could say that that's going to be how the rest of the playoffs will be for the Thunder because with the teams that are left, this is going to be a new team. This is going to be somebody who hasn't won in a long time. All these superstars are going to be getting their first ring. So that means that Leb is expecting a championship.
Yep. No excuses. You have no excuses no more.
Time to get it done.
You're going against teams that are not championship teams. What I mean, we were talking about Curry coming into this. We're talking about LeBron. We're talking about Kawhi Leonard. We're talking about all these guys. The Joker. You beat the Joker. You have no damn excuses to lose to anyone else.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I think of this series and what I think of how the NBA is going to play out. We talked about the Knicks already. I think they'll win in 7. And I do agree this series is going to be so fun for me to watch because especially at the guard position, I think we're seeing two of the best guards in the league. Obviously, Shea probably going to be the most valuable player of the year. Anthony Edwards, one of the league's ascending superstars, Olympian, Western Conference Finals appearance last year, and getting to see the winner elevate to the NBA Finals, the biggest stage, wherever young superstar wants to be. And both of them having so many promising years ahead of them still. So it's definitely going to be a matchup to watch.
Yes,
Ant-Man is going to the NBA Finals. Anthony Edwards is going to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder and have a chance to win his first ring in his young career in Madison Square Garden. What a storyline that would be for the guy who has the best chance to be the future face of the league. Um, that's
I'll
Minnesota.
tell you what this series come down to.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna come down to Cat because he's the reason the Warriors got tortured. And what can
You just got to
Chet
bring up the Warriors, bro.
what can Chet do to make Cat work in the defensive side? Because we forget that we have a unicorn ourselves.
So
We forget what Chet was in high school and in college. We was expecting him to be a superstar, and he was a number 2 pick himself. Chet, there's no excuses. You got to make this guy work. You got to make him work in the offensive, in the defensive side to make him tired to go in the offensive side. And Shea, you got to match Ant. Whatever Ant does, you do and you do better. And I got Thunder in 7 because they're playing in Oklahoma City. And I will say right here, playing in Oklahoma City is harder than playing in New York. Oklahoma City got the best fans in the league. Did you see how they were all matching shirts? It looked like a coat out there. It looked like a coat. They told Joker, we're ready. And now we're telling, yeah, man, you got to come to my house to beat us.
Well, I actually think the exact opposite. I think that the Thunder are going to run into the same problem that the Lakers and the Warriors ran into. Obviously, they match up a little bit better at big, but if you put Chet on Julius Randle, who's going to guard Gobert? They might do Hardenstein. They might be able to try to have some matchup there. But I actually think that Chet will stay on Gobert. I think it's a better matchup for him because as good as Chet is, we saw how Julius Randle just bullied the entire Lakers roster and the entire Warriors roster. And I see him personally giving Chet the same treatment. I think
I
that,
agree with you. Chet is gonna
yeah.
go to the Chet is gonna go guard the 5.
So
But
once
I'm not worried about Hardenstein guarding Randall. I know he can handle that. You remembered him last year when with the New York? This is a guy that's big, strong. He's not gonna get bullied. You think Randall's gonna bully Hardenstein like he bullied Green? No,
and
no, that's not happening.
that's blasphemy, Lev. I didn't think he was gonna bully Draymond Green, and he did. How many players have we watched do that? Sengun is one of the best big men, rising big men in the NBA right now. He didn't even bully Green in that way. So to say that Hardenstein has a better chance of guarding Julius Randle than
Yup, in the
Draymond,
paint. Yup,
that's insane.
in the paint. Bring the work.
Insane. Just
Bring
because
the
you're
work.
just because you're a big body doesn't mean you have a better chance to guard somebody in the paint.
Bring the work.
I mean, okay. Listen, this is he's gonna be the X factor. This is what I was trying to say. Because if Julius Randle is able to continue to play the same way that he is, and given those lanes for Gobert because he's causing so much attention, Ant-Man and Shea, they're gonna do what they do and they're gonna match up. And if Randall's able to continue to have that success, I see OKC having a hard time guarding that and matching up with it. They'll probably try to outshoot it and outscore the tempo, but the Minnesota Timberwolves are a great team defensively. I see them getting this done in 6. I think they're going to win it at home in Minnesota, and they won't have to go to a game 7 in OKC to have to close it out in that environment. I'm going to pick them to win in 6 games. They're going to the
Thunder got bodies to throw on Ant Man too. You forget Thunder's they got a big roster they play. They
so
play 8, 10 guys.
That's fine. I think Ant is going to want to more lock in on defense in this series. He's going to score at the clip. He's attempting threes in this playoffs. It just comes down to if he's making or missing. But him being able to put in that defensive effort, I think he's going to take Shea guarding the MVP personally. And I think that Ant-Man will have better success guarding Shea than Shea will have guarding Ant-Man.
I don't expect Shea to guard Ant Man.
If they try to attack him on switches or whatnot, I mean, definitely not. They're probably going to put Dort on him, or maybe, well, they probably start with Dort on him.
Dort, they might switch him with Alex Caruso, Jalen Williams, a couple guys there that can
Shout out to Alex Caruso guarding Jokic, bro. For 80% of the game, he guarded Jokic. That was crazy to see a guard make such an impact.
And I feel like Alex Caruso can put some work on Ant Man too.
I mean, definitely he can. I mean, he's a great defender, so I think he can make it tough. And that'll be interesting to see, what matchups they throw at Anthony Edwards and if they're able to. do the same thing the Warriors are able to do, because there were stretches of the series where he really struggled to score. Not per se struggled to get the shot that he wanted, but just struggled to put it in the basket. So that'll
Joker
probably be what
struggled
their
this
game plan
series.
is. I think he struggled in stretches. I think he was very streaky in this
He
fight.
still had his numbers, but
I think it.
this is why he's the MVP. He pretty much averaged a triple double, and we're talking about 27, 10 and 10, and we're talking about this guy struggling. Like, we have to acknowledge what we're saying right now.
His greatness. I think we're going to be able to witness his greatness some more in the series, and he's going to carry and propel this team. I think the Thunder have bodies to throw at him, but I don't look at any of those guys as like a shutdown matchup. I think Ant is still going to get his. Shea is still going to be able to get his as well. I don't think he's going to shut him down. But I think Ant-Man being able to be the best player on the floor and take that matchup defensively to heart, I think might give them that slight edge.
And it's going to come down to the other guys. What other guys are going to show up? Jalen Williams, are you going to show up? Jalen Williams, are you going to show up? Alex Caruso.
Game 7.
Yep, and he got to show up. He got to show up.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be number 2. Last year, he's the reason why OKC went home, because he left Shea by himself in a dogfight.
I was happy to see him show up in that game 7. I think he had like 19 and a half or something like that.
You gotta show up. You can't leave your guy alone on game night, game 7. You can't leave him alone, and he didn't. And again, Thunder, you have no excuses for losing. I don't want to hear it no more. I don't. We talk too many excuses. Last 10 years, too many excuses, Sam Presley. You always have an excuse why we lose. Always. And I'm tired of it. Like, I get it. Julia is right. We're a young team. But I'm not talking about just this roster. I'm talking about the last 17 years. And I get it. Like, Julius and other people haven't followed the Thunder for the last 17 years. But I have. For the last 15 years, whatever it is. I have followed them from day one. We make conference finals. We make finals. We've got so many superstars. Like, if you go by the history of the last 20 years and say what organizations have the most superstars, the Thunder are up there with any other organization. They are. They had Chris Paul. They had Kevin Durant. They had Russell Westbrook. They have James Harden. They had Ibaka. And they have so many superstars. They had Paul George. They have Carmelo Anthony. And you know what now you got Shea. You know what those superstars have left to, Julius? 0. Nothing. So you have no more excuses. No more. You gotta get it done. Well, Sam Presley, I think the owner gotta talk to him. Something's gonna happen, because we always think we have a good roster, and like Julia said, your team is young. They told us this 14 years ago. Your team is young. That's what they told Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Remember when all 3 of them were hugging like this after they lost to the Heat, and the headlines were not, "Oh, you guys lost." No, the headline was, "It's okay, you guys are a young team." Guess what? They never made it back. So we gotta stop talking about how young we are and how we're gonna make it in 5 years. We don't know what's gonna happen. We just don't know.
I mean, I get you wanting to put some pressure on them winning. I think a key difference is going to be that I foresee they'll be able to keep this core together for the next slate of years. You know, James Harden didn't end up staying with that young core. They had the decision to sign Ibaka to the extension, and James Harden ends up getting shipped out to Houston. And so that kind of changed that outlook for that team. And now you just have Russ and KD as the stars moving forward. You know, I don't foresee a breakup like that coming with this Thunder team. I think they do have a little bit more time, but you're definitely right in a sense where sometimes as an athlete you don't get these chances again. So when you have an opportunity in an NBA Finals, a ring could be in your grasp. You know, sometimes it's good to just take advantage of those opportunities and be the young, hungry team that gets it instead of saying, "Well, we have time. We have to wait until next year." What's so intriguing about this conference finals is all 4 teams can take that approach. a young superstar, a first time superstar, is going to be able to say, I took seeds of that moment. And what a heck of a storyline we have to see what young superstar is going to be able to be in the face of adversity and take it like that.
And I'm saying this as a Thunder fan. And if I was a Wolves fan, if I was a Knicks fan, or I was a Pacer fan, I'm saying the same damn thing.
I
No
agree.
excuses. Any of these four teams, even though we have our predictions, even though we're saying this and that, any of these four teams can win the finals. There's no favorites right now. Any of these four teams can be our next NBA Finals champion.
Yeah, I think so. So you took OKC in 7. I'm taking the Wolves in 6. I think they're gonna get it done.
And like I said, we both have our predictions, and we both put the Knicks last series. Picked the Knicks.
You gotta
This is 50-50. Any of these series could be taken by anyone.
yeah, I definitely give the series a 50-50. I think I said Knicks 60-40 over the Pacers, but I think this Western Conference series is definitely 50-50. If I wouldn't be surprised at any outcome, to be honest. I could see either team winning in 5 games if they have a good stretch of their best basketball. Um, but I do think it'll be a competitive series. Both teams will be able to win at home and on the road. So
And I think it's very important for both series. Both series. You cannot go down 2-0. You away teams gotta find a way to win one. And it goes back, then the pressure's on OKC to win one in Minnesota, or then New York to win one in Indiana.
we got a
But we cannot go down 2-0.
we got a game 1 prediction. We set our scores for
Game one, I got OKC Thunder 130 to 123.
okay, 130, 123.
I
Okay.
think it's going to be a high scoring game.
I'm going to take a little bit lower, but it is going to be a close game. I'm going to say Timberwolves 117, 113.
And I think, I'm not saying it's a must win, but game one, how close this is, it's must wins for both teams. Like, I get it, most of the time, like the home team got to win. But if you were the away team, you do not want to lose this one and put all the pressure on winning game two. Because, like I said, you lose game two, it might be close deals for me.
I think that the team I would put the most pressure on to win game 1 is the Indiana Pacers. I think the New York Knicks have such a home court advantage right now that you want to go and steal game 1 on the road. If the Knicks go up 2-0 in that series going back to Indiana with how well they play on the road, I think
This
momentum could swing in their favor. I think that the Timberwolves and the Thunder are both so capable of beating each other on each other because we got to remember I think OKC lost game 1 of last series. Denver comes in game 1 and beats them on the road, I'm pretty sure. And they
Yeah,
were still able to bounce back and get a
yeah.
streak of games. Same thing with Minnesota. They lost game 1 at home to the Warriors and ended up winning 4 straight. So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on that Eastern Conference side to hold home court. Indiana's going to want to win that game 1.
And we also haven't seen Indiana in any pressure. They played the Bucks, and the Bucks were injured, and Lillard broke his ACL, and then they beat the Cavs in 5. We
Yeah.
haven't seen them in a pressure situation, must-win game. We have seen Boston. We have seen the Knicks in must-win games because when they went up 2-1, that game 4 was a must-win. You did not want to go back to Boston 2-2.
Have we seen the Timberwolves facing the adversity yet?
We have not seen the Timberwolves any anniversary,
Yeah,
and we have seen the Thunder. The Thunder showed up game
oh,
7,
for
and
sure.
they also showed up game 4 when they were about to go down 3-1.
For sure, they did. They had moments throughout that entire series where they stepped up and had some big games back and forth that could have swayed either way. So for sure,
So this is like I said, it's a series, both series where the young stars gotta take advantage. Because like I'm gonna tell you many times, guess what they said about Marino? You're young. You're gonna get there again. Guess what happened? He never got there again. Guess what I said about CP3 when he didn't win with New Orleans? He's young. He's gonna get there again. He's young. Guess what happened to CP3? Never got there. Guess what happened to Carmelo Anthony when he went to New York and he chose money? He's young. He can get some teammates. Guess what happened? Never did. Lost. And you know what all those guys are? And I'm not gonna say it as their life or who they are as people. They're gay people. They made their money, but in their profession, they were losers. You gotta take advantage when you can win, because if you don't, you can end up a loser and never win again.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be. I'm really getting the feeling that the Timberwolves are gonna win the championship, bro. Anthony
We
Edwards is about to get a championship
we
at
don't
23
know,
years old.
or we will not hear the end of it from Stephen A. for the next year
So
if the New York
I
figure out
really
a way.
believe that the West is better than the East. So whoever comes out of the West, I think is going to win the championship. Like regardless if it's Knicks or Pacers, I don't think the Knicks or the Pacers beat the Thunder or the Timberwolves. So I
I
think whoever
think
wins Thunder Timberwolves is going to win the championship.
I think the Knicks can beat the Timberwolves, but I don't think the Knicks can beat OKC, and let me say why.
Okay.
Home court advantage. A final in Madison Square Garden?
You
That
know,
that alone,
dude,
that
I think
alone might change it
that's
around.
screaming for Ant-Man or Shea to seize that moment.
But do we know
Like,
that? We
like
haven't seen it from them yet in Madison Square Garden. We haven't.
I feel like it would just be automatic. Like they both strike me as players who would step up in that moment. I don't think we get
Or
out of Shea or Ant.
or New York might step up with Game 7 NBA Finals in New York.
I would be very surprised if an Easter team won the NBA final. If like the Knicks or the Pacers are hosting up the trophy at the end of it all, I would be very surprised.
I will not be surprised because of the teams that are going to the finals. Because let's be honest, most people didn't see Minnesota in the finals. Most people didn't even see the Thunder in the finals. They saw a Lakers. They saw a Warriors. They saw a Denver. They saw the Clippers. We saw people that already have championship experience.
Yeah,
And Shea and Ant-Man, as great as they are, they don't have championship experience. The NBA Finals is a different monster, so we don't know what we're going to see from these people
I agree. We can't say we've seen them there before. You're right, for sure.
because we haven't, and we haven't seen the Pacers in the finals. We haven't seen New York. We don't know what they're going to give us either. Any last words before we move on from sports to a
Man,
different
I
sport?
think the first game one is tomorrow, so I'm excited about it. Man, I just can't wait to watch and see how it plays out.
So now we're going to go move on to what a lot of people want us to talk about. We're going to move on to preseason of the NFL. Schedules have came out. I know Julius, he saw the schedules for his team. I saw the schedules for a lot of teams already. Any first thoughts of the NFL? Fox came out with predictions already. I don't know if you saw their predictions,
No, I
but they're
didn't.
predicting the Chiefs will not be the winner in your division.
Yeah,
And also,
the
it
Chargers.
also nope, they don't have the Chargers winning the division either.
I saw somebody at the Chargers. Maybe
They had the Denver Broncos. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of rookies, and other fantasy questions that we have. I'll let you, I'll let you take the words, and I'll ask the questions that I gotta ask, and you can answer them. So, what's your first thoughts of this 2025-2026
I'm
season?
gonna go real hater mode
Or
and
2024, I apologize.
attack the San Francisco 49ers and say that my first big reaction overall looking at the NFL is how much they better be ready to step up this year. Pretty much reloading on some of their big guys, giving extensions now to Kittle, to Purdy, get another extension done today with Warner, doubling up on these guys and saying we feel like if we're fully healthy and fully ready to go, they'll have a good season, maybe compete for that quest for six the Niner fans have been on for so long. Uh Easiest schedule in the NFL based on wins and losses last year. Easiest of 2025 is the San Francisco 49ers. So if you guys are going to be that team and take the division and be able to beat the Rams out for it or beat the Seahawks for it, this better be the year, right? They just locked their franchise into Brock Purdy, right? That's one of my first takes from the NFL schedule, just from like a whole year's perspective. I think our division, man, people being so ready to pick the Broncos and the Chargers, I think it's coming down to Chiefs fatigue. I think people are tired of seeing Kansas City win and seeing them being so successful. And with the Broncos and the Chargers having successful years last year, having great drafts, right, putting themselves in positions to definitely get better, especially offensively, both taking running backs in this draft. Um, I think people are eager and excited to see which team will dethrone the Chiefs. But the Chiefs also got better this year. And the Chiefs are going to get a little healthier this year because they weren't healthy last year. So I don't quite know if this is the year we'll see the dethroning, but I definitely am curious to see how the Chargers and how the Broncos improve, as well as how the Raiders improve. We got a new coaching staff, Pete Carroll picking up, Genty, who's already looking like an all-pro talent out there from the rookie camp. So I think this division overall will be very, very competitive, and I would love to see the Chiefs get dethroned, but obviously I wouldn't like to see it by the Broncos or the Chargers. I want to see it by the Raiders. But then wait a year, Chiefs. Be good one more year. Let us do it next year. We're coming.
So I'll say this about the division, AFC West. Chargers are coming.
Yeah, you've
The
been high.
Chargers are coming.
You've been.
The Chargers are coming.
Whatever.
And I told, if you remember preseason last year, I told people the Chargers were coming, and they didn't believe me. People didn't believe me. People said there was no wide receivers out there. Blah blah blah. The Chargers are coming, and yes, you guys got yourself a runner back. But guess what? The Chargers got themselves a dog too from North Carolina.
Yeah, Hampton's good.
And if you're a numbers guy like Lev is, and this is to all people out there, who led the NCAA in yards after touch? Mr. Hampton. It wasn't your guy. And you know what's the difference?
Didn't touch Genty. That's what the difference was.
You know what's the difference? Hampton actually played some teams. But your guy, he played nobody. The one time he played someone, he got eaten alive.
Who does North Carolina play, bro?
He played in the ACC. He actually plays teams. Like I said, any people have any questions about fantasy football, just put it in the chat. We'll get to them.
It's garbage.
Better than what your guy played.
Listen,
but it comes down to are the Chargers healthy? Their old line have always been great, and you know how you beat the Chiefs. You know how you beat the Chiefs by running the ball. And you know what Harbaugh does? Run, and run some more. Yeah, they got healthy.
Don't sleep on the signing of Najee Harris either. Shout out to the second time this episode.
And that's why I love it. Because Julius said, I hate running backs. And Leb does not hate running backs. Let's get it right. Leb likes running backs by committee. By committee. That means Leb is not going to pay one guy because he's going to have multiple guys. You know why? You keep them healthy that way. And two, you got a big back and you got a back that is fast. And Najee Harris, if we don't forget about this, 3 to 4 years ago, he was the number one running back in fantasy, and that was for a reason.
So I think that the key for the Chargers, honestly, can they get Herbert for 17 games? I think there's always a point in the season where, and he's such a tough guy, so he always plays through the injury, but there's always some point in the season where Herbert's not all the way right. He's had some rib injuries in the past, some shoulder injuries in the past, some hand
injuries. They step on his hand last time.
His hand a lot, and seeing him it kind of changes the dynamic of their offense. They can't run all their throws now. They're being more run dependent. And so I feel like their O-line staying healthy, running back staying healthy, but really having a season where Justin is able to play the entirety of the season and be healthy, I think that's really important for them. Defensively, too, this is a team that recently we've seen them plagued year after year after year by injuries. And so I really do agree with you. I think that's their main obstacle towards really having a shot at taking the Chiefs out is, can this team stay healthy, especially at the quarterback position? Because if Harbaugh and Herbert are able to keep developing that on-field, coach, quarterback, seeing the same thing, chemistry, this team definitely can be scary, not only in the division, but in the postseason as well.
Yes, and the Chargers got dogged in the playoffs. They got dogged.
But I mean, we
So
can't just skip over another division in the AFC that would probably be just as competitive. How are we feeling over there about you guys' schedule and the AFC North?
AFC North is always one of the hardest divisions in football, but it just got a little bit easier because I don't know what the hell the Steelers are thinking. I don't know. Like me and Julius had this conversation.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
If
they.
you're the Steelers GM, right? You get Metcalf. Why? Why do you get Metcalf? You ruin his career. Like you don't have a. Is Rudolph going to be your quarterback day one? Is that what we're going for, Rudolph? And then you trade Pickens. What's your thoughts about all that happening?
Pittsburgh has been one of the more confusing teams to me this offseason. I guess they're all in on Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what caused them to wait all the way to pick Will Howard because those are their starting options. It looks like Mason Rudolph or Will Howard. You got to think that Mike Tomlin might choose to go with experience if those are really the two guys in their quarterback room. But I didn't understand a lot of their moves this offseason. Uh, Mike Tomlin has a thing with trading away wide receivers. I mean, we've seen it throughout different stages of the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point. Sometimes you hear the running joke, if it's a wide receiver that Mike Tomlin wants out of, maybe you should just stay away, stay clear. But George Pickens is obviously really talented, and I think he makes Dallas a lot better. And looking at this offense from a quarterback standpoint, if you are Aaron Rodgers, you definitely like the sound of the offense a lot better with Metcalf and Pickens in it. But I guess Metcalf was brought there just to be the replacement. It kind of gives me they knew Pickens wasn't going to be there. And that's why they've been going so hard at trying to get a wide receiver. They pretty much tried to take a crack at them all. I remember they tried to trade for Ayuk when he was on the block. I know that they've made attempts to get several receivers who have been in and out of the trading block. Metcalf's their guy, and I guess Pickens no longer is their guy. And this is a run-heavy football team. I know they drafted some running backs and still have Jalen Warren, so um, we'll see what their plan is. I guess Rodgers to the rescue, but I don't know if this is a very attractive offense. If I'm Aaron
I
Rodgers,
went if I were Rodgers, I'm retiring. There's no point of
I
coming.
mean, they have a great defense. They have J.J. Watt. Obviously the anchor behind, so it could be one of those things where if they have a great game manager, they can still be a successful team. But they would definitely have to win through running and defense, not through offensive firepower, because
But you
they're
know
not
what
going to.
this sounds like again? A 500 team, barely making the playoff and losing in a wild card, like the Steelers have for the last 10 years.
I mean, I think that what has separated them has been a quarterback. They really haven't had a top caliber quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger. And so to me, I felt like they were a team that probably should have jumped the gun a little bit and took a chance on one of these guys and really went in and said, hey, we really don't have a quarterback plan. Let's try to develop something. But, I guess they went full roster development and didn't really want to draft a quarterback this year. I mean, like I said, they ended up taking Will Howard, who I think could be he was a great game manager at Ohio State. So he must, in their mind, translate to a great NFL game manager. I'm not sure what the scouting report was there, but one of the more confusing teams in the offseason for sure.
So one question for you, and I think it's a question that all Steeler fans and NFL fans are asking, is at what point do you say enough is enough and you fire Tomlin? Not saying Tomlin is not a great coach, but the Steelers are not an. They're supposed to be a winning organization. Tomlin have won the playoff game in over 10 years, and yes, you're gonna say they have. I don't, like I've told you, regular seasons don't matter for certain teams. Regular season just don't matter, and as at one point, I think time came. Some coaches, the time is just they're not bad coaches, but it's just time to leave. It's just their run was over. At what time? When would you fire Tomlin, or would you ever fire him?
Well, I'll be honest. At this point, I would wait for him to at least have a season where he finishes under 500. So I wouldn't fire him if he goes 10-7 because I'm gonna be honest and tell you why. I definitely understand, especially when you're talking about the Steelers, top in the NFL and NFL Super Bowls. So this is an organization, a team, a city that expects championships and top of the line when you look at their coaching history and pedigree and whatnot. But I feel like Tomlin has actually overachieved with a lot of these Pittsburgh Steelers rosters. Again, especially without having a big time quarterback. We just don't see it too often where teams actually win Super Bowl championships with mediocre quarterback play. And the Steelers haven't went all in and getting a replacement. They tried with Pickett, they've tried with other guys here and there. But again, I feel like finishing over 500 with some of the rosters they've gone out there with has actually been a little bit of overachieving for Mike Tomlin. And while I understand you want to win, firing him and starting all over, I don't think puts you in a better position to win if you're still going out there with Mason Rudolph as your QB1.
I think it's time to move on. And I'll tell you why. Yes, you're getting to regular season playoff games, but these playoffs games you're getting dogged. They're getting dogged.
I mean,
and I get it, quarterbacks, this and that, but guess who drafts quarterbacks and talks about it? He does. He's the one in the draft room. He's the one that can put the trigger, and year after year he haven't.
And so, I mean, they don't give full. Is Tomlin their GM and coach? Because I think they have a GM, right?
Yeah, but he's in the draft room and he can say, "I want a quarterback," and he does. If he says that, they give him one. He doesn't say that.
So I feel like they just can't have believed in some of the quarterbacks that have come across because I don't feel like he's probably I feel like the team as a whole would just come to that conclusion. So I wouldn't blame that on Mike Tomlin. His job is to coach the players that are put on the roster at the end of the day. And the Steelers as an organization decide what players they're going to draft and bring into it. And they haven't brought in a quarterback yet. And I feel like that's what he's been missing. Now, if he's had quarterbacks come through, but you got to think about this, man. He's in a division right now with Lamar Jackson, with Joe Burrow. Before that, Deshaun Watson, nobody thought that he was going to be the best that he was. He was a top quarterback in Houston. And so you're thinking that, these are quarterbacks more than you would expect to win with. If he had a guy like that and hadn't gotten it done in 17 years, then I'd feel a little bit heavier about him needing to be replaced. But he hasn't got that. I'm trying to look up the list of starting quarterbacks the Steelers have had since Ben Roethlisberger.
They haven't been good, and I understand that they haven't been good. But that's going back to me thinking it's just time to move on. Like it's just the organization that they are. They are a winning organization and losing playoff after playoff. It's just not Steeler football.
So that's it. It was just Kenny Pickett, and then they went Russell Wilson. So they've had Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky.
But they thought Kenny Pickett was the guy, and they wasted a couple of years with him.
And again, I think for Tomlin to still have 500 or better in those struggling times, because to be honest, when teams miss on quarterback, they're trash. You all of a sudden get top 5 picks. Not many teams have the luxury of missing, completely whiffing on a high quarterback selection and still being competitive. Yeah. And that's what Mike Tomlin has given them. And you're essentially saying it's time to move on from him because of that. Because they completely whiffed on a draft pick and haven't had a franchise-worthy quarterback since Big Ben.
You remember when Reed left the Eagles? It wasn't because Reed was bad. It was because it was just time to move on. Sometimes it's just time to move on. Not because someone is bad at coaching. It's that their tenure is just over. It's just that they don't have the locker room no more. And then sometimes we don't see coaches for 20, 30, 40 years. Sometimes someone's tenure is just coming to an end. And I think his tenure is coming to the end.
If Mike Tomlin goes over 500 with Mason Rudolph or Will Howard as his starting quarterback, he does not deserve to be fired. Looking at their situation, this should be the year he goes under 500. It really should be. With the division that they're facing, with the quarterback situation they're facing, the year that they're coming off of, their recent playoff woes, like this is the downfall. This is the year that it happens. And if it somehow still doesn't happen, there's no way I'm firing this guy. There's no way.
Like I said, it for me, it's not because he is doing a bad job. It's just sometimes tenures come to an end, and it's just what happens. Like in soccer, Real Madrid coach is getting let go. He won Champions Leagues with Real Madrid last year. Real Madrid, he's getting let go because he didn't win this season. They didn't have a losing. He was second in this league and top 8 in Europe. But sometimes tenures just end. This is one of the most winningest coach, right, in soccer history. Getting let go. Not because he's bad, but because Real Madrid is Real Madrid and they expect greatness. And that's what the Steelers are. You gotta expect greatness. Real Madrid doesn't go. Real Madrid had many injuries playing with backups of backups of backups, right? Did the GM go, oh yeah, we have backups? No. He said, I don't care who's out there and I don't care who the roster. It can be an 18-year-old playing. You're expected to win. And if you don't win for our organization, you're gone. I don't care who you are.
I mean, is their new coach worthy of replacement? Because I think that goes into it too. If I'm just going to move on from my coach and expect winning, I need to have an option or a solution that I think is better and be able to take my team further than that.
So
So
their new
if there's a
coach is
position out there, great. But I don't know if there are any free agent coaches that are better than Mike Tomlin.
so the free agent, the coach coming from Madrid is Xavi Alonso. He's a newer coach, right? He's not getting bring in because he's better than Ancelotti. He's getting bring in because it's a new culture needed. And I think a new culture is needed in Pittsburgh because they've been a losing organization for the last 10 years. You can say quarterback or no quarterback.
They haven't been losing. That's the difference. Losing to the Steelers is 10-7. That's not losing.
Like I said, I don't care about regular seasons. Right now, the Ravens are a losing organization. They haven't won since Flacco. That's how I look at sports. You either got a ring or you don't. And the Steelers haven't won a playoff game in 10 years. That's a losing organization. We call the Cowboys a losing organization, and they make the playoff every year. And what's the difference between the Cowboys and the Steelers? Right now, nothing.
And I said that they shouldn't have fired their coach either to just hire somebody internally. If they were going to fire Mike McCarthy, they should have hired a better coach. So now I don't know if they're in a different situation. They have a better roster, and we're probably expecting the same performance. A great regular season and maybe a short playoff outing if they don't come perform. So I just don't know if I agree with this premise. If you're going to fire your coach, especially somebody who's bringing consistency in leagues where we hear every day, all the time, it's hard to even just get one win. Why are we firing consistency over just blow up plans if we don't even know how this is going to work? We don't
And
even
if
know if
I'm
this guy's a good coach.
if I'm Mike Tomlin, I'm putting my I'm leaving and I'm signing my letter and leaving the team today. I think Mike Tomlin needs a new start too. This is what I'm saying. I don't think he's a bad coach. I think for his career and for that organization, they need to go the separate race.
The Steelers are going to suck without Mike Tomlin, bro. Their roster is not good.
But like I said, I'm not talking only about the Steelers. I think Mike Tomlin, for his career, he needs a new start, because we don't measure great coaches by wins. We measure great coaches by titles.
I mean, I'm sure there will be a lot of teams that would be thrilled to have the opportunity to bring him onto their coaching staff. I would be on board to have him be our coach over Pete Carroll. So, set it up.
Okay. So next questions, and this is questions I've got already. I told the chats, the fans, fantasy is coming. What questions they want, and now new brain, fantasy brain, Julius. I know you like fantasy, and I know people having their rookie drafts, had their rookie draft. People are planning for their drafts. It's the time of year that drafts either rookie drafts are happening or rookie drafts are gonna happen, and people are planning for drafts, right? And I know Julius love fantasy football. We had our draft ourselves. First question is, how far did the number one pick? Where would you draft the number one pick from last year? CMC. Where is he in your books? Is he still a first round guy, or is he just not? What? Just where will you draft him, and where are you ranking him in top runner backs this year?
I think if I'm able to get CMC in the second round, I'm still a happy camper. I don't think that he wasn't a top runner. To me, Christian McCaffrey always comes down to health. If the guy's healthy, he's producing, and if he's not healthy, he's not producing. And so that's really what you're coming down to. I don't think that he'll be the number one overall pick or the top three pick, but I definitely think that he can still be a late first or early second round caliber player. Um, and I would probably love to have him in the second round.
We're gonna play a game. All you have to say is yes or no. Are you ready?
Okay.
This is up. Welcome to a new edition of Fantasy Football Games with Back and Forth Sports. In this edition, it's a quick Julius yes or no. Chat, you tell me yes or no. I'm going to name a player, and you say if you draft him over McCaffrey, yes or no. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
And I'll give you can give me a quick 10 word sentence of why. Okay? Barkley over McCaffrey, yes or no?
Yeah, he's younger and had a great season, great offensive line.
Thank you. BJ Robinson.
Yeah, same thing. Younger, I think a brighter future. They'll look to him a lot in this offense.
Thank you. Next question. Gibbs.
No, I'll probably take McCaffrey. He's more of a workhorse. Gibbs splits that backfield with Montgomery.
Thank you. Genty.
Ooh. Yeah, he's a rookie. Shout out to all the dynasty people out there. Raiders. I'll take Genty.
Thank you. Jonathan Taylor.
No, CMC. Easy.
Jacobs.
CMC, not as easy. I like Jacobs. He's durable, really good offense, but still CMC.
Achan.
I'm going to take CMC just a slight. Ashan has the same injury concerns to me. If both healthy, I still take CMC a little bit.
Thank you. Bucky Irving.
Man, I like Bucky. I kind of want to pick Bucky. He still splits with Rakan White. I got to see the Bucks a little more. I'm still going to go CMC. But I like Bucky a lot.
Chase Brown.
I'm going to say Chase. I like Chase Brown. I don't think that that's actually where you would draft him, but I'd probably rather have Chase Brown on my roster this year.
Okay. Bryce Hall.
I don't know what the Jets are going to look like. I'm probably staying away from a lot of Jets this year, even though I love Wilson. I love Brees. Give me CMC.
And last one, Hall. No, I apologize. Mixon.
Oh, Mixon's just a little bit older, and I don't know how that Houston offense is going to look all the way. Their line still sucks. I'll probably take CMC.
Thank you. That's the edition of the running backs. We'll do the next edition in a couple minutes.
That was good. Why you throw Derrick Henry in there?
Oh, I forgot. Oh,
Derrick Henry, got my man's a look in there.
Who you got? Derrick Henry or McCaffrey?
That's crazy. I'm probably still taking CMC, but I would love to have Derrick Henry on my team this year. He's going to play up to that contract, I'm telling you.
So, bonus question. If you got the snake and you're going back and you got the number one pick, now you come back to the number two pick right there, and you have let's say you have CMC, but you also have someone like Genty there, or let's say you got Henry, or you have CMC and you have the number one pick on the snake. Who are you drafting?
I think Christian McCaffrey has the better chance out of anybody who would be available in the second round to be the number one overall running back. So I'd probably pick him at any point in that time. Like if I can get him on the swing back in round 2, I'm probably going to pick him up because if he's healthy, he can be the number one running back overall.
Thank you. And that was the edition of the running backs. Guys, play with us as well. Yeah. And after you're answering some of those questions, and the reason I did this game is based on that, in certain leagues, CMC might not even be second, third round pick. If we were talking about Superflex, CMC is not a second rounder.
No, I wouldn't be surprised to see him still go in the first round if it's in the back end of it. He might be a 5 to 12 projection this year. Um, I mean, who's the number one overall pick this year? Is it Jamar Chase in most leagues? Is it
Um, it depends what kind of person you
what
are.
kind of? Yeah,
Because Barkley can be number one.
yeah. I can see Saquon after the year he's had.
Oh, B. John.
Um, for sure, for sure. I guess that would just depend on if you want to go receiver or running back. But um, so who did I take over CMC? I took Bijan. I took
You took Barkley. You took B. John. You took Gentee. You took Jacobs. You took Bucky. 1 second.
I
Yeah.
didn't take. I didn't
Oh
take
no,
Gibbs. Um,
you didn't. You took Bucky and you took Chase Brown. So
yeah,
you took 5 people over him, and you also say some of them are very, very close.
they're very
So it
close.
can go either way. So if someone took H-Hen over him, I wouldn't be surprised. If someone took Bucky over him, I wouldn't be surprised. So coming to the end of the conversation,
That was fun.
he seems like a top 10 running back in the lower end of where he's going to
I
draft
think so. And
projection.
until we see McCaffrey is unproductive, but I think San Francisco is going to be another heavy dose of CMC if he's healthy. They're obviously going to want to get Brock Purdy going. They're going to want to get this offense going. So especially early out in the year, I think he's a stud once again. And if you have the luxury of having him as your running back too, got to make it happen.
Thank you. And that was our running back question. And that was now. Are you ready for the wide receiver question they asked, Julius?
Yeah.
So there's a wide receiver out there that had a great, great rookie year. One of the best rookie years for fantasy. Mr. Thomas Jr. from Jacksonville. And people are asking, how high should I draft him? Because some people are considering him a top 5 wide receiver, and some people are saying top 6, top 7 is where he lands. For you, out of the top 10 wide receivers, where do you have him in the top 10? Or is he even a top 10 for you?
I think it's tough. I think he's a top 10 talent. I think he's top. I mean, obviously going to LSU, I've been a fan of him for a long time, and he had a breakout rookie season, fantasy star at a lot of points of the season. I think all the knocks that I have against him aren't even things that are his fault or have to do with him as a player. One, I'm not a huge fan of his quarterback. Trevor Lawrence would have to take a step up for me to really have him as a top 5 receiver. Also, this Jacksonville Jaguars team went heavy on drafting weapons this draft. They drafted another running back, possibly to replace ETN, obviously trading up to get Travis Hunter to play him both sides of the ball. We see him running routes in rookie training camp. So I don't know how much their plans are to feature Brian Thomas Jr. as like the main guy in the offense. So those are the two things that worry me. I think talent wise, he still can be top 10. I'd have to really look at a list to see how close or far he is from being out of that top 10 for me, but I definitely don't
No,
think
we're gonna play a game. We're gonna play a game, and we're gonna find out how high he is.
he's
Are you
definitely not,
very?
he's
Are
definitely not.
you ready?
I'm
Are
ready.
you ready
He's
for
in top 5.
another edition of Playing Games with Back and Forth Sports?
Let's go.
So we're gonna consider him not top 5. So we're not even gonna name top 5 talent. Deal?
Okay, deal.
And let's just say who I think my top 5 is for fantasy reasons only. I'm not naming Chase. I'm not naming Jefferson. I'm not naming Lamb. And I'm not naming Puka Nakua. Are you agreeing with those 4 guys just being way better than him?
Yeah.
Okay. And number 5 for me is Sam Brown. Do you agree he's not as good as Sam Brown?
Yes.
Okay. Let's get that out of the way. But now we're playing the game. Call yes or no. My first guy, McConkey. Would you draft him over McConkey?
Oh
Yes or
yeah,
no?
I'm taking him over McConkey. I think just more talented, more raw.
Thank you. So, are you taking him over London?
Yeah, just the Falcons offense, Penix Jr. I don't know.
Thank you. Are you taking him over AJ Brown?
No, AJ Brown's really physical, big part of that Eagles passing game. I think Hurts gonna have a big year.
Okay, and this is where it gets very, very hard. And this is a great question, I believe. Neighbors, what rookie from last year are you taking?
I'm gonna take Neighbors, veteran quarterback. Russell Wilson knows how to get him the ball.
Nico Collins.
I'd probably take Brian Thomas Jr. over Nico.
And then last question, last two, what? Mike Evans?
He's got to slow down at some point, right? Give me Brian Thomas.
And Higgins.
Yeah, I'm taking a 1 over a 2, Brian Thomas.
And let's not forget about Hill.
Oof, give me Tyreek. Come back here for Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay. According to that, he is a top 10. So in
He's
your
top
books,
10.
you will be drafting
around
him in top 8th, 9th. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And like I said,
That was fun.
I personally, no.
Staying
I'm
away
not
from-
talking. I'm not taking any. I don't trust the QB. They just say it like that.
Yeah.
Just give it a buck. Call it. And also, they added Hunter. The other options. What is that offense going to look like? Is he going to be the feature guy? We don't know. Because we all called him the home run guy, but Hunter, he's considered a home run guy. He's not considered a route runner.
Maybe Hunter takes some attention off of him though. I mean, I don't know.
We'll go.
I'm the same. I don't trust Trevor Lawrence.
Thank you. We'll see. And this question comes from my girlfriend that she asks, and this is I want Julius to answer as well. His guy Bowers had a great rookie year.
Oh yeah.
His guy Bowers broke records as a tight end.
Oh yeah.
How high are you drafting Bowers? There's always a question of the number one tight end. Is he first round material, second round material? And now I want to talk both, even Superflex, because Kelsey in his prime, he was going number 12 pick in the Superflex before quarterbacks. How high do you trust Bowers in the Raiders offense? Because this is a question about the whole team. Is he worth a first round pick? Is he a tight end? You pulling the trigger? And I'm asking you because one, you're a Raider fan, and two, you hate tight ends in fantasy football. So they got to be tough for you. I need an answer, and I need the truth.
Chat, I wouldn't say I hate tight ends, but Leb did say I was going to say when I was answering this question, this is so tough for me because I've been a big advocate of not taking tight ends early. I think oftentimes that person you might get at the number one, they might give, people say they give wide receiver output, but I like finding value in that tight end 4, 5, 6 that you can draft way later in the draft and stack up on your wide receivers instead. So that makes me sad because oftentimes that puts me in a situation now with Brock Bowers being probably the number one tight end taken on all boards this year. I don't know if I'm going to end up with him because I still think my stance is the same, Lib. I don't touch a tight end in the top 3. And I feel like Brock Bowers is going to be a round 2 or a round 3 pick in drafts this year. I'm probably not going to draft him that high.
You think he's a top 3 pick?
No, rounds. Second or third round.
Oh, okay.
No. So Brock Bowers gets picked round 1, 2, or 3 in most
yes.
Games, I think.
So you're not touching him in the first 3 rounds? Okay, that's a question my girlfriend wanted to know. Because she's a person that dropped Bowers in the 9th round, right?
Right.
And fell in love with him.
So
but now she's thinking...
Because here's my question. Who's like a 3rd round receiver? Like, is that like T. Higgins range? Are you taking Brock Bowers or T. Higgins? Like
Brock Bowers.
See, I feel like I'd rather stack the wide receivers. So if I can get 2 great receivers round 2 and 3, like if round 1 I pick a running back, or if it's super flex you pick a quarterback. If you can get back to back, I'd just rather have that than a really good tight end. The Raiders are going to be a run team this year too. I know they're going to try to feature Genty and get that aspect of their offense going. But also Bowers can have better numbers because we have a better quarterback this year. Geno Smith is definitely a better pass completer than Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. So that could be a lot of upside for Brock Bowers. I could end up being a complete idiot that says I should have taken this guy 2nd or 3rd round. But
okay, and I actually consider him, Brock Bowers, a tier 4 guy, right? I measure my guys by tiers, by where I'm going to draft him. But because you consider him a little bit lower Let's play another game. Draft back Powers. I'll draft the other guy. Who do you draft, Julius? Are you ready, Julius?
I'm ready.
Okay. If you have the option between Mike Evans and Brock Bowers, who do you draft?
I'd probably take Brock Bowers.
Okay. To have the option in a one quarterback league to draft Lamar Jackson or Brock Bowers, who do you draft?
Wow, one quarterback league. I really like having running quarterbacks. I'd probably take Lamar Jackson.
Okay. McCaffrey or Bowers?
McCaffrey.
McConkey or Bowers?
Bowers. I really do like McConkey, but I think the Chargers never really know where their offensive production is going to come from.
London or Bowers?
That's a really tough. Give me Drake London.
H.N. or Bowers?
See, I like running backs here, especially with running back being so thin. Give me A-Chain.
Okay. Cook or Bowers?
I think Cook's production goes down a little bit. Big Josh Allen year, I'd probably slight edge to Bowers. Just slight.
Okay, thank you for playing. And based on your answers, you will draft Bowers in the third round.
I don't think I would.
But based on your answers.
Yeah, I would probably still find somebody else in the third round to pick. That's crazy though. He's really good. I think he can score more points than some of those guys mentioned for sure.
So now we played the game. Now let's see tight ends. This is a good question every year. What tight end would you draft? How low are you going? Are you the type of person that's no tight end? Let's go week by week to see who I'm getting from the free agent, or you the guy that's gonna draft someone in a 6th, 7th, 8th round?
I don't know if anybody's really worthy of taking a reach on besides Bowers, maybe Laporta, maybe Kelsey. If you feel like the Chiefs' offense is going to be a little better this
I
year,
like McBride.
See, I don't. McBride's supposed to have been the next biggest tight end for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and I have to see Arizona be consistent before I feel like taking a reach on him is worth it.
It depends where people are, but I'll tell you. If Kelsey drops to the 8th, 9th round, I'm taking Kelsey. If Kraft drops to the 7th, 8th round, I'm taking Kraft.
Yeah.
Njoku drops, I'm taking Njoku. Ingram, another guy I would take. Goddard is always a great guy to take. Is Goddard. He's going to give you numbers. 6 out of the weeks, he's going to be a top 5 tight end. Kincaid dropping rankings a lot. And he's going in the 8th, 9th, 10th round. Pick him up. He's a guy that could be a top 5 tight end.
I agree.
I like Pitts. If I know Pitts is not worth a top 5 round pick no more. But if Pitts is the last pick of your draft, take Pitts. If he's the last round, take him.
I liked your list until you said Pitts. I'm not taking Pitts.
If he's the last round to have him there, just to have him, take him. Likely, I would draft Likely in the draft. He might be your last draft pick. He might go in the 10th, 12th round, 15th round. You take him. Listen to me. He's going to be the number 1 tight end. They've been trying to trade away Mr. Andrews for a while now. I will take Likely. Hear it from Leb, a guy that I've heard from his insider. They've been trying to trade Andrews all summer, and they didn't. Because they just didn't get enough value. That's the guys I like. I also don't hate Auden. Auden is always great to have from Tampa. And I also don't hate the rookies that went to the Bears. So, any other guys you like from there?
No, I love that whole list, to be honest. So one of my draft strategy 1-on-1 with Julius. I always like to double up later in the round. So I pick 2 of those guys back to back. So I spend my earlier rounds, get in my running backs, get in my receivers, get in my quarterbacks. I typically have to draft a good quarterback early if I'm going to get a Lamar, get a Hurts, guys like that, right? But I always take 2 in the back end, so I have a guy where I can start week to week. I love guys like Njoku, you mentioned, Goddard, you mentioned. I think Kincaid is a steal. I think he's still young and going to be ascending upward in that offense. and he is going to be sliding down draft boards because he hasn't quite put a season together yet. I like all guys like that later on in the draft. I don't like reaching for a Bowers, for a Laporta. I think you can get great production on the back end and stack your rosters up earlier in the draft.
And I agree. Last topic of the day. We got to finish with our quarterbacks. And the question I've gotten from many people is Mahomes just not a top fantasy guy no more? People have drafted him in top 3 quarterbacks year after year after year. And guess what, Julius? We have told the people to draft him.
Yeah.
And if it's hurt them. It's hurt them.
It has.
Mahomes haven't been that guy. Where do you see Mahomes? Where do you see him in the top 10? Where would you draft him?
I'm going to be honest. I still think I'm going to ride this wave. I think we see better years from Mahomes. One, because they actually lost the Super Bowl. So we don't get the untouchable version of the Chiefs. We get a little more motivated, dedicated version of the Chiefs. Also, I think they're going to be healthy. I look at last year, they were really scrambling to put guys at receiver. There was a time where Juju and DeAndre Hopkins were their 1 and 2, no speed on the outside, Kelsey on top of that. This year, we're going to get Rashee Rice back. This year, we're going to get a healthy Hollywood Brown. Xavier Worthy's going to increase, take that sophomore leap, get a little bit better, have a full second offseason now of development. They might get a healthy Pacheco back. Kareem Hunt added on top of that with Kelsey. I think their offense will be more in sync this year. Thus, we'll get better numbers out of Patrick Mahomes. I'm not putting him over Josh. I'm not putting him over Lamar. Probably not putting him over Hurts. He's probably right at 5 or 6.
Okay. And question here. So now we're going to play the same game, and I'm going to say a couple guys. You said top 6. Let's see how high do you actually have him.
Yeah, we can do them all because I'm curious where he lands on this list. So we can
Let's do top 10.
Okay.
Golf, yes or no?
I'm taking Mahomes over Golf.
Kaylee Murray, yes or no?
I'm taking Mahomes over Kyler Murray.
Bo Nix.
Yeah, until Bo Nix does it again. Yeah.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I'm taking Mahomes still.
Burrow.
No, I'm taking Joey B.
Hurts.
I'm taking Jalen Hurts.
Daniels.
I'm taking Jaden Daniels.
So Lamar and Allen.
Yeah.
So he's your number 6 guy.
What's him at 6? Okay, that's fair. I can see him at 6.
So that's around where I have him.
It's between him and Joey Burrow because I think Daniels is probably 4 who I'd take. So I'd take Hurts, Lamar, Josh Allen, Daniels for sure. It probably comes down to that 5th, and I'd probably still take Burrow first. So yeah, put him right at 6.
For me, the only guy is Kyle Murray because of his running ability. So that's always the what if. But I like it. Great audition of playing games for his back and forth sports. So that was the last topic. Any last words you have about fantasy?
No, hey guys, shout out to you guys, Fantasy, with your rookie drafts. If you have any questions, you want to see any of our rookie rankings, just be sure to comment, tag us in the videos, let us know. If you have any questions, rookie comparisons, on our next episode, I'm sure we'll dive a little bit more into it. So just excited to bring that part back to our show, as well as all the other sports going on. Can't wait for the conclusion of this NBA season. We've got a great conference finals ahead of us. Another great edition of the show. Happy to be here, y'all. Thanks for having me.
One last thing, and I want to see your words. I want to just hear your words as a non-soccer fan. The World Cup is in less than a year in the States. The biggest event, I'll say, in all sports. And yes, Julius can name other sports, but based on numbers, Julius will lose any conversation and he won't even be close. Based on numbers. What are you looking forward to the World Cup? Are you looking forward to the World Cup being in the States in the next year?
I mean, I think since our last conversation about it, I'm looking forward to see if United States is able to back up their talk, their accusations. You know, we're hosting. We got to be able to put up our own and say we're not only just in our home turf, but we're representing for our country. So I want to see if they'll be able to back up that talk.
I like this year too. And I want to say last things for the World Cup. the best time of the year. Next June, don't text Lab, don't call them, don't knock on my door. If it's not about soccer, don't even mention my name. I just keep it like that.
The Warriors gonna be winning the finals next June, so I'll be pretty hyped about that.
Leb is not worried about the Warriors next summer. So he don't care what the NBA has to say. I'll be honest. Soccer, World Cup.
The Thunder
best.
might be winning next summer, so we'll see.
Leb might not even care about that at that point. It's the World Cup. It happens every 4 years, Julius.
It's true. It's true.
So anything you want to say before we close? Any other sports? Anything that came to mind?
No, another great episode. I think we touched on a lot of topics today. Thank y'all for tuning in with us. Again, just let us know in the comments what you guys want to hear us talk about. It was so great to have football and fantasy back part of our back and forth debates. The game was really fun today. I enjoyed it. It kind of gave me like a Stardom Sit-em vibe, so I liked it. It was fun.
It's fun, and don't forget, tomorrow we got game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, and then we have the Knicks on Wednesday. We have great games. Also, throw all of our questions. So many other sports happening. Baseball's coming up. I watch baseball. I know Julie's going to start watching baseball here after the NBA ends because we don't have other sports but baseball to watch. Yeah. You let us know. And Scheffler, congratulations on winning another major in golf. And Scheffler might be the next one to get the big Grand Slam. Grand Slam means he wins all the major tournaments. Congratulations, Scheffler. I do watch golf. Leb watch all sports. Actually, Leb was golfing yesterday. Leb does it all. Just as a FYI, does it all guy. But I'll let it go. I hope everyone have a great day. And that's been Back and Forth Sports.